Okay, so this is going to be a kind of limited review just because I was only able to use this stuff for one skate, and that's because I borrowed it from a goalie buddy of mine here who just bought the Bauer 2X chest and pants, and he was nice enough to let me borrow it. And I, just out of courtesy, I don't want to keep it for an extended period of time. So I just use it once and I get it back to him. That way he can start using it. So I'll just get right into it, and I'm gonna start off with the Bauer 2X pant. Just disregard the knee pads he laced them in. These are his knee pads, he laced them in. They don't come with knee pads, but I don't want to take them out. Just, I wanted to leave the setup the way he had it. But that does bring me to a feature of the pant, which is that they have a loop thing. I don't know how good I'm going to be able to show you this, but yeah, I'm not going to be able to show you, I don't think. But there is a little loop here that you can tie the knee pads to, or lace them to, whatever. And the pants that I normally use are the Vaughn Velocity series. I've been using them for years. I've been using Vaughn pants even before they had Velocity in the 90s. But one of the reasons why I stick with that, among other things, is that they have a tab to lace in the knees. So this does have an attachment point for the knee pads. So that's a plus, at least in my book, for these pants. Just overall, I had a positive experience. I had a positive experience with both pieces of gear. Just talking about the pants right now, though, they're light, they're mobile. I had no protection issue. Again, it was just the one skate, so I'm not getting the full gamut of shots and from all angles, whatever. But I didn't see any issue with protection or anything like that. The only thing I will say, and it might just be a size thing. So I normally wear a size large pant. My friend ordered he uses a medium. So overall the fit wasn't bad. And especially in the waist, because I do have a pretty thin waist for my size. So the waist wasn't an issue, but it did feel a little tight, kind of in the seat, in the crotch and in the legs a little bit. It felt tighter than my Vaughn that I'm used to. So I'm not, I'd have to try a large to see for sure, which I'm probably not gonna be able to, but so I'm not sure if it's the size or if maybe it's just the pant is sort of shaped a little different. Maybe it's a little, I don't know, tapered in the leg, or they streamlined it a little bit. This is not the very streamlined down current NHL spec that NHL goalies are using this season. So it's not that, but still maybe it's just a different shape a little bit or something, and that's what I'm feeling in it, or it could be the size. So I don't want to just I'm kind of hesitant to say that that's a bad thing about the pant or something I don't like, just because I'm not sure if it's really the pant's fault or it's just that I don't have the right size for me. Either way though, it's very minor. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't really bothering me that much, but it's just something I did notice, that it felt a little snug in certain areas compared to what I'm used to. But like I said, not a big deal. So this has an internal belt, but then it does go out to the outside. I believe my friend said you could, yeah, I see it. So there are tabs in here where you can switch the belt and make it completely internal and not have anything on the external. I've always used a pant that had an external one, so I kept it. I mean, this is the way my friend gave it to me, and I just kept it that way because that's more what I'm used to. But it's something you can change. It's a very, and that's kind of the theme with this pant, is that it's pretty adjustable in different ways. So it has this, like I said, it has this belt that you could wear it either fully internal, or where it starts off in the back internal and then comes external on the front. I thought it, when you cinch it in, it really holds the pant on you. And the way that goes is, so Bauer has these fast straps, and this is something I'm going to talk about on the chest protector too. they have it on those, but they call it fast straps. So basically when you put the pant on, I mean, you keep these loose at first and you put the pant on and you pull it tight, and it's just like an easy adjustment thing. You know, when it comes to the pants specifically, so like most pants, or at least my Vons, come with their belt is sort of similar to this, it's like same material, but it would have like just like this one buckle part right in the front, and that's the only thing you use. It's not like a two-sided one like this where you pull. And like actually the one thing with my Vaughn pant I've noticed is that it doesn't hold that great. So like I'll cinch it in because I like to wear, I don't tuck my chest protector, so I like to keep the waist tight on me. So I cinch it in pretty good, and like once I start playing, I notice it does loosen up a bit. It's not a big deal, it doesn't like fall off me, it stays up fine, it's just, but it does loosen up and it doesn't quite stay as tight as I put it. But this stayed pretty good. I really like this system. It's very easy to take on and off. So for the pants, I think this is a really good system they have. I like it. I think it actually, it's functional, it works. It's a good idea. And then of course you have the skate lace tie down in the front, which pretty much every pant has that. Trying to think of what else. Oh yeah, so going back to kind of like how I was saying this pant is pretty adjustable, like one thing with the belt I already went over. So you can also adjust, and again, I don't know how good I'm gonna be able to show this. If you can see, there's like a zipper. So this zipper goes along the line of the whole waist, and it's so you can adjust sort of the height of this girdle part, or the part that goes around your waist. So it gives you an extra, if you, I zipped it up because I don't really want a lot of, I don't want it too high up on my like abdomen area. So I guess also probably because I don't tuck, and I guess I feel like the higher you put the pant, it's kind of more interferes with the chest protector if you don't tuck, or if you're tucking and the chest protector's in the pant, then actually you probably want it a little higher, that way it encompasses the chest protector within the pant more. But he gave it to me with it unzipped, and that's how he was using it, I guess. I zipped it up because when I tried it on at first, it just felt, like I said, it was coming up a little higher than I wanted it to on me. So, but that's something, like I said, it's just an adjustment thing and something they give you an option for. So I always feel like usually for the most part, the more options a piece of gear gives you, the better, because everybody's different. And what one person likes, another person might not like. So it's very easy. You can just unzip it, zip it, and it'll give you an extra, I don't know, inch, maybe 2 inches. I didn't measure it, but it's not like a huge thing, but it's just a little slight adjustment you can do depending on if you tuck, if you don't tuck, or just whatever your preference is. Like I'd already said before, you know, it's very light. No issue with protection. Really the only thing, like I said, was just it felt a little snug, but might not be an issue really with the pant, could just be an issue with the size that I need a large instead of a medium. Overall, I would recommend this pant to anybody. I think it's very solid. Ultimately for myself, it's not gonna make me like get away from my Vaughn. I would say my Vaughn pant, which is specifically it's a Vaughn Velocity 7XF Pro Carbon. But just, it's kind of, the Vaughn Velocity series is very similar from one to the next. It's not a big difference, but I would say overall my Vaughn just feels a little more comfortable, and this pant is a little lighter. So that's kind of the trade-off. For me, for the most part, I'm almost always gonna go with comfort over a little bit of weight savings. So with that in mind, it's not gonna make me like switch from my Vaughn to this, but if I like had to use these pants for whatever reason, it would be no problem at all. It's not something where I feel like I couldn't use them on the ice, or I feel like it would make me play worse or anything like that. So I do think they're a good pant, and especially if you're really looking for just super light gear, I would recommend these pants. They feel like when I picked them up, they felt like, as far as weight wise, almost like a player pant. They're really light. I mean, Vaughn in general is kind of known as being heavier gear. So, part of that is just because I'm so used to that gear, I guess. And then going to this, it's more of a shock to me. So maybe if you have a different pant and then you go to this, might not be a big difference to you. But to me, it was pretty surprising how light these are. But I didn't find that by saving the weight, it gave up anything in terms of protection. I felt completely protected in this. So it's, it's almost a basic tie for me with my Vaughn, and if something just tying, if it's a tie, I'm not gonna like switch. The only way I'm really gonna switch off of something that I already love and use is if it just like kind of blows me out of the water or whatever. But if it's just sort of around the same, I'm probably just gonna stick with what I know and like. So ultimately, I'm not gonna change pant or anything, but I was impressed with these pants. I would recommend them. I think they are good pants. The only thing that I really can't speak of at all is durability. These are brand new pants. Bauer doesn't have the best reputation when it comes to durability. That's just something, obviously you just have to own it for a while to see that. I can't tell that from one skate. The only thing I can say, it doesn't come brand new with any issues, but that's kind of to be expected. It shouldn't have any issues brand new. But yeah, I think it's a good pant, and I would recommend it. So I guess that's all I'm gonna say about the pant. We're gonna move on to the Bauer 2X chest protector. Let me just lift it up so you can get a view of this. So just a little bit about my experience or my history of chest protector, and also I'll kind of go back to talking about the pant. I basically used almost nothing but Vaughn for almost my whole playing career. I feel like while I do use Vaughn pretty much everything as far as leg pads, glove and blogger, specifically the chest and pants, I feel like Vaughn really knocks it out of the park, and that's why you see so many goalies in the NHL. I don't know this for a fact, I haven't done the research, but just kind of like the eye test of what I see, I feel like Vaughn, or the most goalies in the NHL use Vaughn over, as far as like what's the most popular brand of chest protector they use. And I just feel like it's something Vaughn has really perfected, is their chest and their pants. A good amount use the pants too, but I would say it's more the chest that you see in the NHL. A lot of goalies use Vaughn. Other companies though, they're making better ones, and you're kind of seeing now some more goalies trying other units. I would say maybe like, 5-6 years ago, there was even more goalies wearing Vaughn. So it might be a little less, but I still think, if I had to take a guess, I think Vaughn has like the market share as far as chest protectors. So that's what I use anyway. I'm kind of getting long-winded here, but getting back to what I use the Vaughn chest protector and pants, and I just feel it's so comfortable, and they've just like perfected it at this point that it just feels so natural when you use it, and that's what I really love about it. They used to kind of have some issue with like protection. People would complain that they were getting, not that they were getting like injured from it, but it would get bruises, stingers, and they were saying like, oh, this is a pro unit, I really shouldn't have to deal with this. And I can see where they're coming for with that. And to me, yeah, I might get a few stingers here and there, but it wasn't a big deal, especially what I was getting out of it as far as like mobility and comfort. I preferred that. But in more recent years, they've shored up that a little bit more, and I don't think it's so much an issue as far as a lack of protection with the Vaughn units. So that being said, I'm trying the Bauer 2X chest here. So it's very mobile. I would say mobility-wise, it's not far off from my Vaughn. The only thing I would say, and again, this kind of goes back to how Vaughn has just perfected the whole chest protector thing over the years. It's like it gets down to the detail of like how you, like where you put breaks in the padding, and like where you articulate it and stuff like that, and how you separate the padding. So like, for instance, The only really time I could kind of sense some immobility in this was in the front chest area and kind of across, like across here basically, or if I try to like move my arms in front, I could feel a little resistance there. And so if you look at this, the Bauer put their, I think it's this their curved composite material. It's the same material they put in their leg pads. So they put it here and it's just like one solid piece. It's not, it doesn't have like any articulations or whatever in it. Whereas if you take a look at my Bauer chest protector, which is an SLR Pro Carbon, they have it separated in certain areas that you can tell helps for when you do any kind of like movement where you're bringing your arms together, or maybe you have to reach across or something, which you probably shouldn't have to reach across too much, but in like desperation saves or whatever, the chest protector better kind of collapses in without giving resistance. Whereas I feel like this, because it has this really, and this is really stiff and solid, which for protection purposes is great, but then you're giving up a little bit in the mobility. It's not a big deal. I still think overall this unit is pretty mobile. Their X line as opposed to their S line is supposed to be their more mobile unit, so that's not really surprising. But I still wasn't expecting to be quite this mobile or comfortable right off the bat, especially because this is a new unit. I think he may have used it like once, but it's basically brand new. So I was surprised just how mobile it was. Like I said, it's just a little bit of an issue in the front that I could kind of feel it, but it's not a big thing. But it's just that it's not quite as comfortable or mobile as my Bauer. The arms, I had no issue with at all. As far as mobility, moving around, doing anything you have to do with the arms. So let me just turn on the back. Now the way these arms are compared to my Bauer, this piece that covers the back part is longer, bigger. I don't know how you want to put that really, but it covers more along the back, I feel like, than my Bauer, and it almost feels more like a sleeve that you put your arm in. It's not necessarily better or worse to me. It's just different. So like when I wear my Bauer, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't feel like I'm in a sleeve necessarily. I mean, I feel like my arm's in it, but this just feels more like, almost like a shirt, like, okay, like this is actually perfect that I'm wearing this long sleeve thing, and you feel like your arm is in a sleeve. You could just get more of that feeling with the chest protector. It's not a bad thing. It didn't bother me or anything. It's just a different feeling. So like, I don't know how else to describe it. But it's just something that I wasn't used to from past chest protectors I've used. But I don't know, maybe you might like that kind of all-encompassing feeling in the arm. Like I said, it's not that it's anything that I can think of that's like a positive or a negative. It's literally just different. So, but it's just something I wanted to point out. Now, another thing you could do is adjust the arm. So it's got this skate lace thing that you use to adjust it. And what you do is, it's just this little button. Let's try to show this. This little button you push, and you can move the stop point up or down to loosen it, tighten it. I pretty much left it how my friend had it, because when I tried it on, the arm length was fine, so I really didn't have to adjust it. But it's just, and it kind of seems like a theme overall with the 2X line, where they're kind of big on like easy adjustment options on it. So, I mean, I think that, to me, that's a positive. I would say though, like, I don't necessarily need it, but why not give someone the option of it? Like, to me, once I buy a chest protector and I fit it to myself and I set the straps where they need to be, I never change it or move it. So the fact that you're giving me something that makes it easier is cool and all, but I'm probably not going to use it because, I mean, I'm not growing. I'm 37 years old. I'm not going to grow. I wish I did. I'm not going to grow at this point. So I'm never going to adjust. once I make the initial adjustment. So I don't really need some kind of quick, easy adjustment method. But it doesn't hurt anything, so I'm not going to say it's a negative or anything, but it's just not something that really benefits me per se. Maybe, and I would think most people are like that. Like, I don't know why you would change something once you adjust it to fit you properly, unless you're like a kid that's still growing or whatever. Anyway, it's just another option I have on here, so I'm going to show you. And this is something that most chest protectors have, where you can adjust around the neck and you can adjust the back piece. And they have, it's just a Velcro and elastic kind of adjustment thing. They have one strap on each side here. Like I said, it's pretty standard. I've seen that on a lot of chest protectors have that. So going back to like how I showed you on the pants, that they had those fast strap things that you pull in the front. So they put those on the chest protector also. So these things in the back are their fast strap system. So basically, like, what you do is when it's off you, before you put it on, you leave it looser, and then you put it on you. And then once it's on, you can just kind of reach back and you feel them and you pull it tighter. But this, again, goes back to what I just said about the whole, like, I don't really need to keep adjusting things once I make the initial adjustment. So like with my chest protector, and for years, as far as I can remember, chest protectors, they've always just sort of had like an elastic. So I didn't really talk about it, but the material that these straps are is not elastic. It's, the name of it is escaping me right now, but it's not elastic. It doesn't stretch, okay? But my chest protector, pretty much every chest protector I've ever had, that piece is an elastic piece, and it, you can adjust it, whatever. But once you adjust it to how you want it, you wouldn't really change it, because when you take it off, put it on, whatever, since it's elastic, it can stretch a little bit. So when you take it off, I mean, it stretches a little bit to help get it off of you, but there's really no need to like loosen it and tighten it every time you take it on and off. So again, this is another thing where it's giving you that option, but I would just prefer to have the regular like elastic and set it and forget it kind of thing. That way I don't have to keep pulling it tight or loosening it every time I take it on and off. I just set it, and the elastic will kind of have that little give to help me put it on and off. That's what I've been used to my whole life. I've never felt an issue with it. It's never something I felt like, oh man, I wish this would be different. So, I mean, that being said, it's not like a big deal to pull it. It takes 2 seconds, but it's just like an extra thing that I don't need. I kind of feel like, sometimes these companies come up with their little gimmicks, for lack of a better word. So like, they came up with this fast strap system. So they're like, well, we got to put this in all our stuff now because it's our little thing. We have the fast strap. So we put it in the pants. We put it in the chest protector. In the pant, I think it actually works and it's functional, because the pant belt is something you do have to loosen and tighten every time. I just think in the chest protector, they kind of shoehorned it in there just to have it because they wanted to put their fast strap thing in there. I don't think it's necessary. It's not really a huge negative or anything though. It is just something I don't think is really necessary. So in the front, this piece here, not this piece, and this piece here all come out. They're just held in by Velcro. And it's basically what it is just a little adjustment, and you can do whatever you want, but they'll kind of tell you, their official explanation for it is like, if you don't tuck, you keep those pieces on, so it makes it a little bit longer to cover your belly since the thing is untucked. And if you do tuck, you're probably going to want to take those pieces off to make it tucking in easier, because then if you tuck it in, you don't need it to go that deep, and in fact, if it goes deeper into your pants, it's going to interfere with stuff. So that's kind of what it's supposed to be for. I don't tuck, so I left it on there, and it was fine for me. I had no issues with it. I haven't tried it off because I don't tuck, and if I take it off and I leave it out, it's kind of a little too short, so I wouldn't do that. but it's just another feature I wanted to talk about. But yeah, so I mean, using this, it felt really good. It's very, like I said, very mobile, surprisingly mobile. I didn't expect it to be that mobile since, like I said, since it's a pretty much a brand new unit. Protection wise, absolutely no problems. Again, like I said with the pants though, it's one skate, you know, I'm not getting shots from every possible angle, whatever. But the shots I did take, I mean, wasn't any problems of, you know, feeling it too much, getting a stinger, whatever. I felt completely protected in this, had no issues with that. So, you know, good mobility, good protection. A very minor thing that I'm just looking at now is it's got this little loop in the back part, the back neck. It's just for like carrying it, or like when you get in your stall, locker room, whatever, you can hang it up. Usually you have hooks behind you. This is a very small thing, but it's something I like, and it's something I don't have in my Vaughn. So like when I get to the rink with my Vaughn and I put it on the hook, I just use an elastic strap that's in the back that's not really meant to be hung from. It's just something that's on there, but I use that because it's the closest thing there. It's the only thing really that I can hang it from. But I like that this gives you a specific thing for that it's not, you're not using a piece of elastic that's not meant for that, because you know, it's elastic, and if you're using it to hang it by that, it could kind of stretch it out. I mean, I haven't had a problem with it with my Vaughn, but I just like that this does give you this option of this thing that it's solely for the purpose of holding, hanging this thing, whatever. That I don't have that with my Vaughn. So I mean, it's a very minor thing, but it's a plus that I like with this chest protector. Something that's a minus I would give it is, let me see, it's on this side. So if you look on the underside, this is the left arm of this, which if you're a regular catching goalie, you catch with your left hand, as opposed to if you're full right, you catch with your right. But so I'm regular catching, I catch with my left. And that's what most people are. So stock, I think it always comes on the left side. So it gives you this extra piece of pad right here for the underside. Basically it covers like this area. And that's because since that's your glove hand, you know, you have it up or whatever, and so that's more exposed. But they don't give it to you on the right hand side. Now you can see it's got these little holes to lace it in. So what you could do is you just unlace it from, if you're catch with your right hand instead of your left, you unlace it from this, take it off, lace it into this side. So you can move from one side to the other depending where you are. My thing is, it's a small piece of padding. It's not going to kill you, Bauer, to just put one on each arm. My Vaughn comes with that pad on each arm. That way, no matter which way you're catching, it's already on there. And also, even though it's mostly your glove hand that's going to expose that area, why not put a piece of protection like that on your blocker? I mean, you never know. It's the probability is low that you're going to get something in that area on your blocker hand. But, you know, nobody plays a perfect game. We're not always perfectly in position for something or whatever. So sometimes we're going to make a desperation save. We're going to be caught where we're facing the wrong direction, or just some weird deflection. Anything can happen. And even if you only get hit there once, but if you don't have protection there, you're going to be sorry. You're going to wish you had it. And I don't think, like I said, why would that be such a big deal that they wouldn't put? It's such a minor little piece. You know, like, I don't see how much, like, is it really going to cost them that much more to add this same little piece of padding to the other arm? That way you're protected on both sides, regardless of what hand is doing what. So like I said, to me, it's a negative. It's not huge. It's not a huge thing. It wouldn't be like a deal breaker. Like I wouldn't say, oh, I can't use this chest protector because of that. But I just think it's kind of dumb that just seems, it's so minor. Like, just do it, man. Just fix it. It makes your product better. Why wouldn't you do it? But whatever, they didn't do it. Like I said, if you want, you can switch sides, or you might even be able to order that pad, or maybe someone will sell you it or something. I don't know. And then you can have two and put one on each arm yourself. But it just doesn't come stock with one on each arm. Just again, speaking on the arms, like I said, it was very mobile. I had no issue, like, as far as bending my arms, moving it. So like how I said before, how the 2X is Bauer's supposedly more mobile unit over their 2S. And like where you really see that is in the shoulder floaters. They're so they have a lot of breaks, if you want to call them, right here to make it very rounded, right? So the 2S is going to be a little more squared off and make your shoulders look broader, whereas the 2X is more streamlined and is going to just kind of form to the shape of your shoulders more. So like as you can see, most people's shoulders kind of have like a slope a little down like this. And so when you're wearing it, your silhouette is going to still kind of keep that shape. I mean, obviously it's going to be built up more because it's padding, but it's still going to keep that shape. Whereas a more blocking, boxy chest protector is going to be more just squared, where it's going to come up a little higher and it's going to be more of a square silhouette if you look at yourself. So the Vaughn I use is actually more of that squared version, the SLR, whereas Vaughn's Velocity chest protector is more like this, where it's more streamlined to your shoulders. Now, like I said before, normally for the most part, I'm all about like mobility and comfort. So you might think that the Velocity is sort of more like up my alley. And there's nothing really wrong with the Velocity chest protector. I think it is a good chest protector too. But I don't know, I've always been more drawn to it started off with like the Epic and the Ventus, and now they call it the SLR, but it's that whole line, that secondary line of chest protectors they've had that's not the Velocity. I've always been more drawn to that one because even though it's like I said, it's that more kind of squared off, it makes you appear a little bigger, it's still super mobile and super comfortable. So I don't feel like I'm giving up any comfort or mobility with it. And you know, I'm not the biggest guy, I'm 5'11", and especially in modern days for a goaltender, that's small. So if it's gonna square off my shoulders a little bit and give me a little bit more, you know, height in the shoulders, and I'm not giving up anything as far as mobility or whatever, or comfort, then why wouldn't I do that? So I'm more used to that with my normal chest protector. So like I said, this one has that more streamlined. It's gonna wrap around your shoulder more because you can see how flexible this is. And I don't know if you can really see the break points, but there's like there's at least 3 like articulation points in this where it makes it very easy to bend and wrap around your shoulder. So like I said, it's a personal preference thing. It's not that it's bad because of that. That's specifically what this is meant to be. So if you like that more streamlined look or feel, then this is probably going to be the model Bauer chest pad for you. It wasn't like I said, it's different than what I normally use. Wasn't a huge deal, but like I said, me being not the biggest guy to begin with, if I can get a little extra height out of a chest protector around my shoulders, I'm going to take it. So in that respect, I still prefer my Vaughn over this. And even just overall, I would still stick with the Vaughn. It's kind of the same thing like I talked about with the pant compared to my Vaughn pant. Whereas I like it, it's good, I can definitely use it, no problem. But it's not blowing me away as far as being better than my Vaughn. And the Vaughn is just what I'm so used to and comfortable with, that I'm not going to just change it for change's sake, even though it's, you know, it'd almost be like a lateral move for me instead of moving to something better. So, you know, But overall, I was impressed with this chest protector. If I had to, for whatever reason, like if my Vaughn broke or something and like my buddy was like, here, I'll sell you this, I could use it, no problem. It wouldn't like affect my game negatively as far as how I move or whatever. I don't know if like the whole shoulder thing, you know, how many goals is that really saving? That little extra like inch higher or whatever that the shoulder might be. I don't know if that would really make a difference. But just as far as how I feel out there playing or like protection wise, it wouldn't affect me or anything. It feels very comfortable when I play. I have no issues with it whatsoever. So again, like with the pant, I would recommend this. I think it's a quality chest protector. So like how I said with the pant, how I couldn't really talk about the durability. It's like the one issue I really couldn't say anything about. So with this, even though again, it's the same situation where I only skated in it once, there is a durability issue that came up with this, and it wasn't even from me using it. but my buddy used it at least the one time. Maybe he used it more than once. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. But like I said, he tucks, right? So he connects there's a loop in the belly that he connects with the pant somehow. So when he gave it to me, I noticed there's a loop. I don't know how good you can see it. It's literally hanging on by the last thread. It's almost completely torn off the front. He didn't even notice that when he had given me this to use. But before I even used it, I noticed it, and I messaged him and told him about it just because I didn't want him to think that like I used it and tore it or whatever. And yeah, so he hadn't even realized that it happened. But like I said, he used it like once. I'm pretty sure it was just the one time. And that thing already tore off, and he was using it what it's meant, like that's meant to be used for that, to help tie it down to your pant if you tuck. So that's, it doesn't speak the highest of Bauer. Like I said, they already kind of have a bad rap that they have working against them. That I do feel like they're improving overall with their products as far as durability from a few generations ago of their stuff. But they just have that stigma attached to them, and it's not a good look when something like this happens on a new piece of equipment. It's a minor piece, and you can always say like, you never know, like, did it get caught somehow on like a freak play that he really stretched out and that's what caused it? I don't know. You might be able to make excuses, but like I said, it's just not a great look for Bauer that something like that happened on a new piece of gear. That being said, I don't know if that would scare me away from using this, really. Like I said, it's kind of a minor thing. But still, it's just something I'm gonna, report on in my review here of this. But just going back overall to the whole unit, man, I think it's really good. I felt very comfortable in it. I told you the couple minor complaints I had with it. But I think it's solid. I think if you're somebody that's, worried about mobility, that both of these, the pant and the chest protector, is very good for that, and you're not going to be giving up, protection for the mobility. It's really a good combination. And also just kind of anecdotally, when the 1X chest protector came out, I never had it and I never used it, but I had another friend, not this same guy, another friend who had a 1X chest protector, or I think he still uses it actually. And I saw it in person. I remember seeing it. It's just something, I'm making a judgment with my eyes. It's not something I didn't use it, but it just kind of looked cheap. I don't know, like that's the only way I can really think to describe it. It looked kind of cheap. It looked kind of crappy. Maybe it wasn't. Like I said, I didn't use it, but it just had that cheap, kind of crappy, plasticky look to it. I like, that's the best way I can describe it to you right now, right? So that was with my impression of the 1X. I just by looking at it, I wasn't impressed. This looks solid. Like this doesn't look cheap. This looks like a solid chest protector when you see it. So just from that standpoint, I like that improvement they made with from the 1X to the 2X. It just seems like a more solid chest protector. That could just be, like I said, it could just be a visual thing, and really wasn't an issue with the 1X. I don't know. It's just something else I'm throwing out there. And then just finally, kind of overall, something I wanted to say about my one skate with this. So if you've seen my other reviews, you might know I have a Bauer 2S leg pad and glove and blocker set that used to belong to a University of Michigan goaltender. So when I did the skate with this gear, I kind of thought to myself, like, maybe it'd be cool to do just like head to toe Bauer and see, right? Like, even though the leg pads, glove and blocker are the 2S and this is the 2X, so it's not like the same line from Bauer necessarily, but it's still their basic theory of their current stuff, top to bottom, right? I was like, let me see how this all works. Bauer has some of the lightest gear in every aspect of gear out there right now. So I did end up wearing completely Bauer head to toe. So on one hand, it did feel kind of weird just because I'm so out of my comfort element as far as that goes, or as far as like I'm not using anything that I normally use. It's all like new gear or the style of gear that I wouldn't normally use. But I will say that I could definitely tell a weight difference by like, it felt like by several pounds weight difference. At least is what it felt. You know, I didn't weigh anything, whatever. But just, you know, head to toe Bauer, it was super light compared to my Vaughn stuff. I can't argue against that. It was impressive how light I felt out there. That being said, just from a comfort factor, and not necessarily from the chest and pants, those comfort-wise were really pretty good. Like not far off from my Vaughn at all. But the 2S leg pads are just, and I said this again, if you look at my review for those, they're just not my style of leg pad, and they're not comfortable for me to use. And the glove is a practice glove, so it's got a reinforced palm, and I can't catch shit with that thing. So comfort-wise, there was definitely some issues, mainly because of the leg pads and the glove. And those things I felt affected my performance. But the chest protector and the pants didn't affect me negatively. I thought they performed very solid, very good. But I just wanted to kind of throw that out there as an extra thing that like, it did make an impression on me using Bauer stuff head to toe, like as far as weight wise. So I think if you can like, if you're used to that kind of gear, like I'm now more specifically talking about like the leg pads. If you like that stiff kind of leg pad, more modern type, it's not for me. I'm old, man. It's just not for me. But you're a younger guy, you've got good flexibility, good healthy hips, and like that hard, stiff stuff doesn't affect you negatively if you can get away with it. I think it's a good setup to use Bauer head to toe. You're saving a lot of weight. You know, you feel just so light out there with it. So I'm sure it's gonna help, like, I don't know, reaction time or just moving around. But you know, like as I've already said many times, with me it's about comfort and mobility at this point. Like, you know, I just play for fun. I'm not looking to get any higher level or whatever. So I'm not gonna sacrifice I'm not gonna be uncomfortable out there on the ice just to be a little lighter, to possibly be 1/100th of a second faster. You know, I just want to be comfortable, and I just want to, you know, not. I'm almost in pain, honestly, when I use the 2S pads, because it put a lot more pressure on my hips. So, like, just from that aspect, I just can't use those things. Anyway, I'm digressing to something else. But the main point of this video, the chest protector, the pants, I give them both thumbs up. I give them my endorsement. Like I said, the only thing is that I can't talk about it with the pants is the durability. With the chest protector, there has already been a little bit of an issue with the durability, so that's not great. Other than that, though, I can't talk any more about the durability of that. So those are the only things that are kind of up in the air, really, for me. But I just, like I said, you know, out of the box, or, you know, pretty new, first time skate with this stuff, really impressive. And I think it's good stuff, man. So as usual, if you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Just leave a comment and I'll answer it. Other than that, I guess I'll see you guys next time.